The night was quiet at the Bizon Orbital Salvage Yard. The stars filled the sky like tiny diamonds. Bart Doyen sat alone in his small office, drinking his third cup of coffee. He was tired. His eyes were heavy. But someone had to watch the yard at night, and tonight that someone was him. Do-hyun was 32 years old. He had worked as a mechanic for 15 years. He started when he was just a teenager, helping his father fix old cars in their garage. Now he fixed spaceships. Big ones, small ones, broken ones that nobody else could repair. People said he had magic hands. Do-hyun said he just understood machines. They talked to him in their own way, and he listened. His hands were always dirty. Grease lived under his fingernails, like it had paid rent. His coveralls were stained with oil and burn marks. He was not handsome in the traditional way, but there was something honest about his face. Something real. The salvage yard was full of dead ships. They sat in rows like metal ghosts, waiting to be torn apart for pieces. Some were old cargo vessels. Some were luxury cruisers that had seen better days. All of them had stories, and all of them had ended up here. In the place where ships came to die, Do-hyun took another sip of his coffee. It was cold now, but he drank it anyway. He looked at the clock on the wall. 3 more hours until morning. 3 more hours of nothing. That was when the sky changed Dot at first. Do-hyun thought he was dreaming. A line of blue fire cut across the darkness above him. It was beautiful and terrible at the same time. The line grew bigger and brighter. Then he heard the sound. It was like thunder, but deeper. It shook the walls of his office. It rattled the windows. Do-hyun jumped to his feet. His coffee spilled across his desk, but he did not care. He ran outside, his boots hitting the metal ground with loud clangs. The thing in the sky was not a meteor. It was a ship. But it was like no ship Do-hyun had ever seen. It was silver and smooth, shaped like a teardrop, mixed with a blade. Blue flames poured from its back as it fell. It was not flying anymore. It was crashing. Do-hyun watched with wide eyes as the ship screamed over his head. The heat from it touched his face like a warm hand. Then it hit the empty lot behind the salvage yard. The impact was massive. The ground jumped under Do-hyun's feet. Dust and dirt flew into the air like a brown cloud. The sound was so loud that Do-hyun's ears rang for several seconds after. Then there was silence. Do-hyun stood very still. His heart was beating fast in his chest. His mind was racing with questions. What was that ship? Where did it come from? Was anyone inside? Were they alive? He did not wait for answers. He grabbed his toolkit from beside the door and ran toward the crash site. The ship had dug a long trench in the ground. Dirt and rocks were piled up on both sides like small mountains. Smoke rose from the vessel in thin gray streams. Up close, the ship was even stranger than Do-hyun had thought. The metal seemed to glow faintly, like it was alive. The curves of the hull were too perfect, too smooth. This was not human technology. He was certain of that. Do-hyun walked closer. His hand reached out to touch the hull. It was warm, but not hot, and it felt strange under his fingers. Almost soft, like skin over muscle. A sound made him step back. It was a hissing noise, like air escaping from a tire. A section of the hull was moving. It was opening. Do-hyun held his breath. 3 figures stepped out of the ship. They were tall, much taller than him. Their skin was dark, like polished black stone, but when they moved, Do-hyun saw tiny lights inside their skin, like stars, like they carried the night sky within their bodies. They were women. At least, they looked like women. Their faces were beautiful in a way that was hard to describe. Their eyes glowed soft purple in the darkness. They wore tight suits that looked like liquid silver. The tallest one saw Do-hyun first. She stopped walking. Her purple eyes studied him. Do-hyun felt very small under her gaze. For a long moment, nobody moved. Nobody spoke. The only sound was the soft crackle of the damaged ship behind them. Then the tall one spoke. Her voice was strange and musical, like someone singing and talking at the same time. "Human," she said. The word was slow, careful. "We require assistance. Our vessel. It will not fly." Do-hyun looked at the smoking ship. Then he looked at the 3 alien women standing before him. His brain was telling him this was impossible. Aliens were real. They were here. They were asking for his help, but Do-hyun was a mechanic. And when something was broken, he fixed it. That was what he did. That was who he was. He set his toolkit down on the ground. He took a deep breath. Then he looked at the tall alien woman and said the only thing that made sense. "Yeah, I can see that. Let me take a look." The tall one tilted her head. Something like surprise crossed her face. Perhaps she had expected fear. Perhaps she had expected him to run away. But Do-hyun did not run. He had never run from a broken machine in his life. He walked toward the ship, and the 3 alien women watched him go. They did not know it yet, but they had just met the one human in the galaxy who might actually be able to help them. And Do-hyun did not know it yet, but his life was about to change forever. The tall alien woman said her name was Yura. She spoke slowly so Do-hyun could understand. Her voice was still strange to his ears, like music mixed with words, but he was starting to get used to it. The other 2 aliens stayed close to their captain. The younger one was called Nari. She was smaller than Yura, and her purple eyes were full of worry. She kept looking at the damaged ship like a mother looking at a sick child. The third one was Hana. She was strong and serious. Her eyes never left Do-hyun, and he could feel that she did not trust him. They sat on metal crates near the crash site. The sun was starting to rise, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. Do-hyun listened as Yura explained their situation. They were called Velori. They came from a star cluster very far away. So far that light would take thousands of years to travel there. Their ship was named the Eternal Drift. It was a scout vessel, fast and light. 3 days ago, they were near Jupiter, the big planet with the red storm. Pirates attacked them. The pirates wanted their cargo, their technology, their ship. The Velori fought back and escaped, but their vessel was badly damaged. "The FTL core still works," Yura said. FTL meant faster than light. It was how they traveled between stars. "But the propulsion matrix is broken. We cannot move. We cannot reach any Velori station. We are trapped here. Did you call for help?" Do-hyun asked. Nari shook her head sadly. "We sent signals. Many signals. But the nearest Velori ship is 40 light years away. Even with FTL communication, it will take months for help to arrive. We do not have months. Our supplies will not last that long." Don thought about this. Months without food. Months without water. Months stuck on a planet that was not their home. He could see the fear in Nari's eyes, even though she tried to hide it. "Show me the damage," he said. Hana stepped forward. "You are just a human. Your technology is primitive. You cannot fix Velori engineering." Her words were sharp, but Do-hyun did not get angry. He had heard similar things before. Customers who did not believe he could fix their ships. Engineers who looked down on him because he did not have fancy degrees. He had proven them all wrong. "Maybe," Do-hyun said simply. "But I would like to try." Yura looked at Hana. Something passed between them. A silent conversation. Then Yura nodded. "Show him," she said. Inside the ship, Do-hyun felt like he had entered a dream. Everything was different from human vessels. The walls were smooth and curved, with no sharp edges anywhere. Soft light came from everywhere and nowhere. The air smelled sweet, like flowers after rain. Nari led him to the engine room. Do-hyun's eyes went wide when he saw it. The propulsion matrix was beautiful. It was a large crystal structure, almost as tall as him. Inside the crystal, light moved like liquid, flowing through thousands of tiny channels. But many of those channels were dark now, and there was a large crack running through the center of the crystal. It looked like broken glass. The matrix controls how energy moves through the ship, Nari explained. It takes power from the FTL core and turns it into movement. Without it, we are like a bird with no wings. Do-hyun walked around the crystal slowly. He touched it gently. It was cool under his fingers. He could feel a faint vibration, like a heartbeat that was too weak. He looked at the crack. He looked at the dark channels. He studied the way the light still moved in the parts that worked. He spent 3 hours doing this. The alien women watched him in silence. Finally, Do-hyun sat down on the floor. He rubbed his eyes. His brain was working hard, trying to understand what he was seeing. "It is impossible," Hana said. "I told you. He cannot help us." But Do-hyun held up one finger. "Wait, give me a moment." He closed his eyes. In his mind, he saw engines. Human engines. Old car engines from his father's garage. Fusion cores from modern spaceships. Jet engines from ancient airplanes. They were all different, but they all worked on the same basic idea. Take energy from one place. Push it through a system. Create movement. He opened his eyes and looked at the crystal again. "This is an engine," he said slowly. "A very advanced engine, but still an engine. You push energy through these channels. The resistance creates thrust. It is the same idea as our combustion engines, just much more complex." Nari stared at him. "You understand it?" "I understand the principle," Do-hyun said. "The energy comes in here." He pointed to the top of the crystal. "It flows down through these channels. The crystal resists the flow, and that resistance creates the force that moves your ship. But the crack is blocking most of the channels. And some of the channels are dead because they are not getting power." Yera moved closer. Her purple eyes were bright with something that might have been hope. "Can you repair it?" Do-hyun scratched his head. "I cannot fix your crystal. I do not have the materials or the knowledge. But maybe I can build something new. Something that does the same job, with human technology?" Hannah asked. Her voice was full of doubt. "Human technology and a lot of creativity," Do-hyun said. He looked at the 3 alien women. "It will not be pretty. It will not be elegant. But I think I can make something that works." He stood up and pulled out his phone. "I need to call some friends. People who owe me favors. This is going to take everything I have." Yera watched him carefully. "Why would you help us? We are strangers. We are not even from your world." Do-hyun shrugged. "Because your ship is broken. I fix broken things. That is what I do." It was a simple answer. Perhaps too simple. But it was the truth, and sometimes the truth was enough. Do-hyun did not sleep for the next 3 days. The first call he made was to his old friend Kim Tae-woo. They had studied together at the engineering academy many years ago. Tae-woo now worked at a big factory in Seoul that made parts for spaceships. "I need superconductors," Do-hyun said. "The best ones you have." "Industrial grade. How many?" Tae-woo asked. "All of them." There was silence on the phone. Then Tae-woo laughed. "You are crazy, Do-hyun. You have always been crazy. I will bring them myself. I want to see what you are building." The second call was to his cousin Lee Ji-ho. Ji-ho was a research assistant at a university. He had access to laboratories full of expensive equipment and rare materials. "I need crystalline growth medium," Do-hyun said. the kind they use for quantum computers. That is not easy to get, Jiho said nervously. That material is controlled. There is a lot of paperwork. Jiho, do you remember when I fixed your car for free? 3 times? There was a long pause. I will see what I can do. The third call was the hardest. Do-hyun called his ex-girlfriend Choi Yoonji. They had not spoken in 2 years. Their relationship had ended badly, with lots of shouting and hurt feelings. But Yoonji was the best materials engineer Do-hyun knew. What do you want? Yoonji asked coldly when she answered. I need your help, Do-hyun said. I am trying to build something impossible, and I do not know the chemistry well enough. Why should I help you? Do-hyun thought for a moment. Because you are the only person smart enough to figure this out. And because deep down, you are curious about what I am doing. Another long pause. Then Yoonji sighed. Tell me more. By the end of the first day, Do-hyun's small salvage yard had become a busy workshop. Taewoo arrived with 3 trucks full of superconductors. Jiho came with boxes of crystalline compounds, looking around nervously like someone might arrest him. Yoonji called every few hours with instructions on how to mix and process the materials. The Valori watched all of this with amazement. Who are these people? Yura asked as another truck pulled into the yard. Friends, Do-hyun said, not looking up from his work. Family. People who trust me. They came because you asked? Yes. Yura was quiet for a moment. On my world, such loyalty is rare. It must be earned over many years. Do-hyun smiled a little. Same here. But I have been fixing things for a long time. People remember when you helped them. The work was hard. Do-hyun was trying to do something that had never been done before. He was trying to connect human technology to alien systems. It should have been impossible. The materials were different. The energy signatures were different. Everything was different. But Do-hyun did not believe in impossible. On the second day, Hana came to watch him work. She stood in the corner of the engine room with her arms crossed. Her eyes were still full of doubt, but she did not say anything mean. You have not slept, she said finally. You have not eaten properly. Why do you push yourself so hard? Do-hyun was welding a connection between a human superconductor and the alien crystal. Sparks flew around his face, but he did not flinch. Because you need help. And because this is the most interesting puzzle I have ever seen. Puzzle? A challenge. A problem to solve. He finished the weld and looked at her. I became a mechanic because I love understanding how things work. Your ship is like nothing I have ever studied. Every minute I work on it, I learn something new. Hannah tilted her head. You find joy in this? More than I can explain. Something in Hannah's expression changed. The doubt did not disappear, but something softer appeared beside it. Respect, maybe. Or understanding. On the third day, everything came together. The new propulsion system was ugly. There was no other word for it. Human cables ran alongside alien tubes. Metal brackets held together pieces that were never meant to touch. Superconductors were wrapped in alien crystal fiber. It looked like a monster made from 2 different creatures. But when Do-hyun connected the last piece and pressed the activation switch, the engine hummed to life. Light flowed through the crystal again, brighter than before. The dark channels lit up one by one. The ship vibrated gently as power moved through it. Nari made a sound that might have been a sob. Tears fell from her purple eyes, and the tears glowed faintly in the dim light. It works, she whispered. It actually works. Taewoo stood beside Do-hyun, his mouth hanging open. You crazy genius, he said. You actually did it. Yoonji's voice came through Do-hyun's phone speaker. She was still on the line, listening. I do not believe it. The energy readings are stable. It should not be stable, but it is. Do-hyun sat down heavily on the floor. He was so tired that the world seemed to spin around him. His hands were burned and cut. His muscles ached. His head was pounding, but he was smiling. Yura walked over to him. She looked down at him with an expression he could not read. Then she did something unexpected. She knelt beside him and took his hand in hers. Her skin was cool and smooth, and he could feel the tiny lights inside her pulse gently. "You have done the impossible," she said quietly. "You have saved us." "Just doing my job," Do-hyun said. But they both knew it was more than that. Much more. After the engine came to life, Do-hyun finally slept. He slept for 16 hours straight on an old couch in his office. When he woke up, the sun was setting again, and the three Valori were waiting for him. They looked different now. The fear and worry that had been on their faces was gone. In its place was something else. Something serious and important. Yura stood in the center. Nari was on her left. Hannah was on her right. They were standing very straight, like soldiers at attention. Do-hyun rubbed his eyes and sat up slowly. His body still hurt everywhere, but his mind was clear. "Did something happen?" he asked. "Is the ship okay?" "The ship is perfect," Yura said. "Better than before, in some ways. Your design is crude, but it is also strong. It will last a long time." Do-hyun relaxed a little. "Good, that is good. But now we must speak about something important." Yura's voice was formal, different from how she had spoken before. "Among our people, there is an ancient tradition, a law that is older than our oldest cities. It is called the Debt of Stars." Do-hyun did not know what that meant, but he listened carefully. When a Valori's life is saved by an outsider, a bond is created. This bond cannot be ignored. It cannot be refused. The one who is saved must give something to the one who saved them, something of equal value. "You do not have to give me anything," Do-hyun said quickly. "I was happy to help." Hannah shook her head. "You do not understand. This is not about happiness. This is about balance. If we do not repay this debt, we carry shame for the rest of our lives. Our families carry shame. It follows us forever. The debt must be paid," Nari added softly. "Please, let us pay it." Do-hyun looked at the three women. He could see that this was very important to them. Refusing would hurt them more than accepting. "Okay," he said slowly. "What kind of gift are we talking about?" Yura smiled, and it was the first real smile Do-hyun had seen from her. It made her face even more beautiful, like the sun coming out from behind clouds. "The gift is threefold," she said. "Three parts, because three of us were saved." She nodded to Nari, who stepped forward. In her hands was a small device that looked like a metal cube. She held it out to Do-hyun. "This is the first gift," Nari said. "Knowledge." She pressed a button on the cube, and suddenly the air filled with light. Images floated around Do-hyun's head. Star maps, technical drawings, formulas and equations, medical information, historical records, thousands and thousands of files. "This contains everything we know," Nari explained. "Our science, our history, our understanding of the universe. It is the combined knowledge of the Valori people, collected over 10,000 years." Do-hyun's mouth fell open. This is incredible." "It is yours," Nari said. "Use it well." She stepped back, and Hannah stepped forward. The serious woman who had doubted him for 3 days now looked at him with clear respect. She held out her hand. In her palm was a small object that looked like a silver seed. "This is the second gift," Hannah said. "Protection." She pressed the seed into Do-hyun's hand. It was warm against his skin. "This is a Valori beacon. If you are ever in danger, if you ever need help, press this and hold it for 3 seconds. A signal will go out across the galaxy, and we will come." "The entire Valori fleet?" Do-hyun asked. Every ship within range, Hana confirmed. You are now under our protection, Park Do-hyun of Earth. Any who threaten you will answer to us. Do-hyun felt the weight of the tiny seed in his hand. It seemed much heavier than it should be. Finally, Yura stepped forward. She did not carry anything in her hands. Instead, she stood very close to Do-hyun and looked into his eyes. The third gift is from me, she said. It is the most precious gift a Valori can give. It is called the Bond of Hearts. She placed her hand flat against Do-hyun's chest, right over his heart. Her palm was cool, but where it touched him, warmth spread through his body. He felt something strange happening. Something deep inside him was changing. From this moment forward, you will always know where we are, Yura said. Her voice was quiet, almost a whisper. You will feel our presence, no matter how far apart we are. And we will always know if you are in trouble, if you are hurt, if you are sad. This bond connects us across any distance. The warmth spread from his chest through his entire body. Do-hyun gasped. He could feel them. Yura, bright and strong like a flame. Nari, gentle and warm like summer wind. Hana, steady and solid like a mountain. They were in his heart now, in a way he could not explain. Why? He asked. Why would you share something so precious with me? Yura's eyes glowed brighter. Because you gave us something precious first. You gave us our lives, our future, our freedom. This is the only gift worthy of such a sacrifice. She lowered her hand, but the warmth remained. The bond was permanent. You are part of us now, Yura said. Not Valori, but connected to us forever. You will never be alone again. Do-hyun did not know what to say. He looked at the knowledge cube in one hand, the protection beacon in the other. He felt the bond humming softly in his chest. He was just a mechanic from Bizen. He fixed broken things. That was all he had ever wanted to do. But now he was something more. Something he did not fully understand yet. Thank you, he said finally. It did not seem like enough, but it was all he had. Yura nodded. Thank you, Park Do-hyun. For everything. Outside, the stars were coming out. The same stars the Valori called home. The same stars that now felt a little closer, a little more real. Everything had changed. And somehow, Do-hyun knew this was just the beginning. 1 year passed. Then 2. Then 5. The small salvage yard in Bizen was gone. In its place stood the largest repair station in the solar system. Do-hyun had to give it a name, so he called it simply the Yard. Other people called it the Miracle Factory, the Impossible Workshop, the place where broken ships found new life. Word had spread across the galaxy. The human mechanic who fixed an alien ship with duct tape and determination. The man who looked at impossible problems and said, "Let me try." Aliens from dozens of species came to Earth now, seeking his help. Do-hyun was not alone anymore. He had a team of 50 mechanics, all trained by him. He had engineers and scientists working in laboratories full of alien technology. His cousin Jiho ran the research department. His friend Taiwu managed supplies and logistics. Even Yoonji had joined, leading a team that studied alien materials. But Do-hyun still did what he loved. Every day, he put on his coveralls and got his hands dirty. He still fixed things himself. He taught his workers that no machine was truly dead, that every problem had a solution if you looked hard enough. Earth had changed too. The knowledge cube that Nari had given him was now being studied at every major university in the world. Human science jumped forward by centuries. New medicines cured old diseases. New energy sources ended the fighting over fuel. New materials made space travel cheaper and faster. But the biggest change was how other species saw humanity. Before Do-hyun, humans were considered primitive. A young species on a small planet, barely able to leave their own solar system. Other aliens either ignored them or looked down on them. Now things were different. Humans are problem solvers, the alien said. They never give up. They take broken things and make them work again. They find solutions where there should be none. Ships came from across the galaxy to be repaired at the yard. Alien ambassadors visited Earth to negotiate trade agreements. Human mechanics were hired by alien companies because they had learned from Do-yoon, and everyone knew that Do-yoon's students were the best. The Valori came back often. Yira, Nari, and Hana had become important figures in their government. They spoke for Earth in alien councils. They defended humanity against those who still thought humans were too young, too primitive, too dangerous. Through the bond in his chest, Do-yoon always knew where they were. He felt Yura's pride when she won arguments for Earth. He felt Nari's joy when she discovered new star systems. He felt Hana's fierce determination when she protected their fleet in battle. And they felt him too. His happiness when a difficult repair finally worked. His frustration when politics moved too slowly. His quiet satisfaction when he taught young mechanics and watched them grow. The bond never faded. It grew stronger with time. One night, 5 years after the crash, Do-yoon stood on the observation deck of his station. The yard floated in orbit now, too big for the ground. Below him, Earth turned slowly, blue and green and white with clouds. Above him, the stars stretched out forever. He heard footsteps behind him. He did not need to turn around. The bond told him who it was. "You are thinking again," Yura said, standing beside him. "You always think too much." Do-hyun smiled. "I am a mechanic. We have to think about how things work." "And what are you thinking about tonight?" "About how strange life is." Do-hyun watched a cargo ship leave the station, heading toward Mars. 5 years ago, I was nobody. Just a man who fixed broken ships. Now I have changed the history of my planet. I did not want that. I did not plan for that. The best things never come from planning, Yura said. They come from being ready when opportunity arrives. You were ready that night. You did not run away. You did not refuse to help. You looked at an impossible problem and said you would try. I still do not feel like a hero. Yura touched his arm gently. The starlight in her skin pulsed softly. Heroes never feel like heroes. That is what makes them heroes. They stood in silence for a while, watching the stars. Do you ever regret it? Yura asked finally. The life you had before was simpler, quieter. Now you carry the weight of so many expectations. Do-hyun thought about the question seriously. He remembered his old life. Quiet nights alone in the salvage yard. Cold coffee and broken ships. No one counting on him for anything important. Then he thought about now. The team that looked up to him. The aliens who trusted him. The 3 women who were always present in his heart. The chance to make a real difference. Not for a second, he said. I fix things. That has always been who I am. Now I just fix bigger things. Yura laughed softly. It was a beautiful sound, like bells ringing in the distance. You humans are remarkable, she said. You see the universe as a series of problems to solve. Nothing scares you. Nothing stops you. We are stubborn, Do-hyun agreed. Maybe that is our superpower. A new ship was approaching the station. Do-hyun could see it in the distance, getting closer. It was damaged, limping through space on failing engines. Someone else who needed help. Someone else who had heard about the miracle worker at the yard. Do-hyun finished his drink and set down the cup. I should go, he said. They will need me down there. Yura nodded. They always need you. That is your gift and your burden. Do-hyun started to walk away, then stopped. He turned back to look at Yura, the starlight in her skin, the glow of her purple eyes. the bond that connected them across any distance. "Thank you," he said, "for crashing in my backyard." Yura smiled, that beautiful smile he had first seen 5 years ago. "Thank you for not running away." Do-hyun walked toward the repair bay, his toolkit in hand. Behind him, Yura watched him go, pride glowing in her eyes. The universe was vast and full of mysteries. There were problems everywhere, machines that needed fixing, people who needed help. And at the center of it all was one human mechanic who refused to believe in impossible. This was not an ending. This was just the beginning.